JBN, we keep you informed. Jamaica Most Wanted, Episode 6, Joel Andem. Joel Andem, the last of 7 children, for Enid, Haughton and Kenneth Andem, was a very quiet lad. While he attended the Rollington Town Primary and Vauxhall Secondary Schools in East Kingston. He grew up in the East Kingston area and lost two of his brothers to gun violence. One was killed by bandits, while the other was killed during a confrontation with the police. According to his older sister Lorna Andem, they were grown up good by their mother, who didn't want them to keep company and would give them a spanking if they did. She said, Joel broke out when he used to attend Vauxhall. He never used to steal and just hung out with the wrong crowd. While claiming that her brother is a carpenter by profession, Lorna said that Joel is no dunce. In fact, she thinks based on his academic achievements he could be described as brilliant. He has 3 subjects, including mathematics, said Lorna. He was very good at maths. Since the 1960s, criminality has been a thorn in the neck of law enforcement, and the criminal elements who ruled the respective decades took the level of brutality expected from felon to lower depth. One of the most dangerous and notorious gangsters of the modern era is Joel Andem, the reputed former leader of the Gideon Warriors gang, who grabbed at the headlines and caused much anxiety and panic among law-abiding citizens and law enforcers. In fact, Andem is to date the only criminal to have been upgraded from fugitive to terrorist by the security forces. Past Commissioner of Police Francis Forbes described Andem as operating like an urban-type guerrilla. Andem, according to police blotters, was a career criminal. Andem occupied the head of the police most wanted list for 4 years, between 2001 and 2005, after he was released for good behavior after serving 8 years on a shooting charge. After 4 years on the run, Joel Andem, at the time Jamaica's most feared and notorious, reign of terror ended in May 2005, after a large battalion of police and soldiers crawled up in the pre-dawn hours and collared him at the opulent residence the most wanted fugitive had built for himself in Clarksonville, a rural farming community in St. Ann close to the Clarendon border. Andem was reportedly so comfortable in his deep rural hideout that he reportedly expressed surprise that he had been found. Andem, who led the Gideon Warriors gang, was clearly frightened as the security forces corralled a 6-bedroom house he shared with his father and another adult. Assistant Commissioner Donald Pusey, who led the operation to nab Joel Andem, said the feared gangster was ruthless when he was finally captured. He trembled like a badly tuned truck, Pusey said. Andem was then taken to a nearby school before he was whisked away by a helicopter and taken from the Jamaica Defense Force Air Wing in a convoy of vehicles to be locked away and face the slew of charges he was slapped with. Days after he was dramatically captured in the Rustic District, the police dusted off a long list of charges against the nation's most wanted man, including murders, shooting with intent, extortion, illegal possession of a firearm, and kidnapping. The feared gangster, who cops accused of over 20 counts of murder, rape, extortion, kidnapping, and robbery, was described by police as a semi-illiterate who had many brushes with the law. He was first sentenced to 6 months for larceny in 1983 before being slapped with a 42-year sentence 7 years later for illegal possession of a firearm, robbery with aggravation, and wounding with intent. He was, however, released after 8 years on parole. His fall into infamy began when he and a band of his Gideon warriors were featured on television bearing high-powered rifles, slaughtering a cow, and hosting treats in their lair at Lanley St. Andrew. Even though he was a feared criminal with numerous hideouts before, ever since the video was released by police to sections of the electronic media, Andem's notoriety became almost international. He was by far the most feared and revered fugitive in the criminal underworld. The video was shot by one of Andem's cronies and showed the reputed gang leader smiling coyly as his foot soldiers paid tribute. Across his lap was an AK-47 assault rifle, one which top law enforcers said he was very adept at using. Footage captured at the hideout also showed Andem's spouse brandishing a handgun and issuing verbal threats to a member of the constabulary. The fugitive and his gang members have been blamed by police for a series of vicious murders, including that of gas station owner Sylvia Edwards, who was kidnapped along Red Hills Road in July 2000. When a demand for ransom of 200,000 was not met, Edwards was murdered and buried in a shallow grave in Constitution Hill, St. Andrew. In January 2005, Andem was also freed of the murder of 30-year-old Lennox French, who was shot dead at his gate at Holdup Road, St. Andrew. Andem and his gang have also been blamed for more than 22 murders, including those of Edwards' brother-in-law, Robert Edwards, who was shot dead across the road from her gas station on Hagley Park Road in Kingston in November 2001, a day before he was scheduled to testify at the preliminary inquiry of 3 men held for the murder of the gas station operator, District Constable James Thomas, who was shot dead in Kintyre in November 2000. While he was on his way to work at the Papine police station, his body was thrown in the Hope River. Pearl Brasco, St. Andrew Eastern People's National Party activist, who was shot dead in November 2000 after being branded a police informer. Her body was dumped in a water tank in Augustown. Police blotters also show that the gangster was suspected to be among a group of men who challenged a contingent of police officers to a shootout in Mudtown in April 2002. During that incident, a 21-year-old police constable with barely a year's experience under his belt narrowly escaped with his life after a powerful bullet struck and disabled an M16 rifle he was using to defend himself before ricocheting and tearing a sizable portion of his bulletproof helmet. 2 years later, police reported that another cop was shot in the leg after a blazing gun battle with members of the Gideon Warriors in Kintyre, Papine. Andem and his gang were at the time blamed for shooting 5 police officers between 2001 and 2004. In December 2001, 3 policemen were injured during a reported shootout with members of the gang in Skyline, St. Andrew. A gang member known as Eddie was killed in that confrontation. Andem is currently serving a 20-year sentence for shooting with intent and was also sentenced to 12 years imprisonment at hard labor on a charge of illegal possession of a firearm and shooting with intent after 4 cops testified that he opened fire at them along Skyline Drive in St. Andrew in January 2002. In addition, he was slapped with another 20-year prison sentence in relation to other gun-related charges. He was 41 at the time of his arrest. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily uploads.